Zombie Apocalypse.
What's going on YouTube? This is 6 Scale Economist. In today's video, we're going to keep it up with another Marvel figure. Today we're going to be talking about the Iron Man Mark 47 reissue. Alright, so as always, we're going to talk about this figure first from a collection standpoint, and then we're going to talk about it from an investment standpoint. Damn. When they announced the reissue of this figure, I think it was like back in January of 2020, I mean, it broke the hot toy community. This was like one that was speculated for a while, given how insane the secondary market was for this figure. Like, they had to do a reissue, and I'm so glad that they did for like everybody who like missed out on this figure on the first time around, myself included, to be able to get this one on the second go around. Just for like a history lesson for anybody that like is unaware, like I imagine most people are aware of this. This figure was unbelievable in the secondary market. It is the single highest like hot toy figure trading in the secondary market. This figure got up to like $1,800 in the secondary market. For a figure that like this was the original release, $355 this figure was issued for, and it just got to an absolutely obscene level where Hot Toys, I feel like, just like could not ignore it anymore, and like to service like the fans and I don't even know, like to try and like stabilize their secondary market, they just had to, their hand was like forced. They had to reissue this figure. Like, one, they're gonna make a ton of money when they reissue it, and two, like while it is important to have like a healthy secondary market for like your product to like in order to like keep demand of your you know, the products that you produce, like getting a figure that goes like 5x above retail, it's just like not healthy, and it clearly shows that their supply demand like equilibrium point, they like were way off target. Like, they just did not supply this figure enough, and that's why that figure got to such an insane level. So we're gonna take a look at the photos here. We're gonna look at the one that was sold out because it has more photos. But like, this Iron Man is sweet. This Iron Man is like amazing for multiple reasons. The two biggest ones. One, it's the best armor for all the Iron Mans, in my opinion, and what I imagine most people's opinions are. This is the same armor that they use for the Iron Man Mark 46, which everybody already knows basically is the best armor for Iron Man. For most people's collectors, like generically, it's like the most like Iron Man-y feel, like just like the way it looks, and like it's not like too boxy, not like too heavy, maybe like the Iron Man Mark 7, which also is a great Iron Man, but it's just like simplistic enough that like if you have to have one Iron Man in your collection, the Iron Man Mark 46 like is probably the one to have. And like that's the first point. And the second point is that like the color scheme like with this silver just really makes this figure pop on the shelf. And there's a variety of other reasons why this Iron Man is amazing, but like those are probably the two main ones. Obviously you get like, they just killed this release. Like the Iron Man, the Tony Stark head sculpt for this Iron Man is just insane. It's the same one that you get with the Mark 46, except the eyes are looking off to the side, and the Mark 46 has a bruised eye. But like the head sculpt is Tony Stark, period. Just destroyed it there. Like, amazing. You also get like this, like, you know, in the movie Spider-Man Homecoming, when like he lifts up his like thing and like he's not there. There's just like a hilarious moment, and like something that's like also like very iconic, and I think a lot of people like will display their Iron Man like this. Like, it's just cool to kind of have like an empty armor. This is such a great figure. It's such a great Iron Man. Like, you can display him with like Spider-Man, which is also like a, you know, very much a fan favorite figure. You know, and you get these accessories when he like goes like save the day and like save the cruise ship. Like, everything comes with the glasses. Like, if you ever like if you ever want to like throw up at like secondary market prices on things, just one day go take a look at what these glasses were selling for when this figure was trading at like $1,800 in the secondary market. Like, I think I saw these glasses sell for like $80 before on eBay, which is just like grotesque. Like that's more than like most like regular pairs of like sunglasses. Like, you could probably get like a Ray-Bans for like the same amount that you could have got like these like super tiny glasses to go on this figure. But that just like shows like how in demand and how insane this figure was. So it's just so great that they're like reissuing this figure. Then like here's like obviously like the reissue link. I'll post this link in the description as well. But you know, you can pre-order it on Sideshows, whereas like a variety of other places. They increase the price a little bit, and like I hope that nobody is complaining that like Hot Toys is charging $19 more than they charged on the original issue, because you know, to pay $19 more instead of, you know, $1,900 total, you know, back in like 6 months ago before they released it, like you should be very happy to pay $374 to get this figure, for a figure that people were paying upwards of $1,500, to purchase in the secondary market before. But just like from a collection standpoint, this Iron Man is awesome. Not only is this Iron Man great because if you want just one Iron Man in your collection, like this one is probably a good one to get. Like I would say it's like if you want one Iron Man, I would probably pick up this one or the Mark 7 in terms of things that are like in stock right now. I think I have the Iron Man Mark 7. That's a great Iron Man as well, but it's more of like a heavy duty like military look. This one is just a much cleaner, simpler Iron Man. And then on top of it, even if you already have Iron Man, which I imagine most people do have multiple Iron Mans, like this is also just another great Iron Man to add to your collection because it is significantly different than other Iron Mans in this like silver like look that really pops off the shelf, yet it's still like the sleek, amazing armor that comes with the Mark 46. So that's my opinion on this figure from like a collection standpoint. Like, love it. I think I pre-ordered it within like 24 hours of like the reissue announcement coming. Like that was such a no-brainer for me, which leads me into talking about this figure from an investment perspective. Cautionary advice. Just because this figure went to, $1,800, this figure has scalpers sniffing all over it, I'm sure. Don't get caught with these scalpers like trying to like flip this figure for like a quick buck or anything. Like, is this figure going to perform well in the secondary market once it sells out? Yes. Is this figure going to be an $1,800 figure? No way. Not a chance. Like, Hot Toys just clearly got the supply-demand equilibrium wrong the first time around. Like, this was just like, I imagine what they were thinking was like, oh, this Iron Man was like not really in the Spider-Man Homecoming movie. Like, it was a Spider-Man movie, not an Iron Man movie. Like, so they probably just like didn't make that much of this figure. And they thought that, like, some people pick it up, but, like, they didn't really, like, need an Iron Man. Not realizing, like, they probably didn't even realize how great they did with this armor, like, for the Mark 46 and for the Mark 47. And so, they probably didn't realize how much demand they were going to have just for this pure sake of that sleekness armor look. And then on top of it, the fact that it's like a different like colors with like the silver like also like pops. So like they clearly got the supply demand wrong in the first time around. They're not going to make that mistake again. They're already showing that they haven't made that mistake. This figure has been on pre-order now for months now, and still not gone waitlist anywhere. And it seems to be a plethora of demand across multiple retailers. So don't buy this figure if you're thinking you're just going to buy it, wait for it to sell out, and then sell it for like $1,000 in the secondary market. This figure is not going to be a figure that's going to go like $1,000 again. Like the supply is just way more now, and the Hot Toys is not going to make the same mistake twice. With that being said, it's a great investment from an investment perspective. Like Iron Mans have done very well. I get that Marvel is not in the spotlight, and there's other Marvel figures that are probably not going to do well because Marvel doesn't have the spotlight. But Iron Man just has such a demand, and given that like, spoiler warning if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame. I don't know how you haven't seen Avengers Endgame, but spoiler warning, don't listen. But to this next part, but like obviously like Tony Stark like died at the end of like Endgame, and like that was like the end of like Iron Man, and like so I would imagine that he's not going to be in the next phase. I guess you can't say anything for sure given like they like mended time and time jumping and all that stuff. But like if that's the case, like we're probably not going to be getting that many more Iron Mans, which is crazy to say given we were getting an Iron Man like every 2 weeks for like what felt like 2 years. But if we're not going to be getting that many more Iron Mans, this might be like the last Iron Man that you can pick up that's MCU for like a while from Hot Toys. And if that's the case, pick this figure up. It's going to do well from an investment perspective. It's not going to be an $1,800 figure. Is it going to be a $600 figure? Very well could be, and if I had to put money on it, I probably would say that it's going to be like a $600 figure. I'd imagine the figure is going to perform very similar to how the Iron Man Mark 46 did. Now, with that being said, the Iron Man Mark 46 does come with really great accessories, like more accessories. Like the display stand is a little bit of a letdown from this figure. I wish that they gave it a dynamic display stand like they did, with the Mark 46, or like they're doing with the I forget which Spider-Man is coming with this. I think it's like the stealth suit Spider-Man that's coming with the dynamic display base. I kind of wish they did that with this one, but nevertheless, this figure is going to do very well in the secondary market. And Hot Toys like very seldomly gives you a chance to have like a second strike at what has already historically been a very good figure. Don't miss out on this figure. If you're a Marvel fan, if you're an Iron Man fan, pick up this figure. It's great from an investment standpoint. If you're on the fence, just pick it up. Keep that free optionality. You're going to do fine on this figure. I can't imagine this figure ever once it sells out, ever goes below $500. And at $500, you're going to be like in the money by like a decent amount after shipping and fees and everything. So like you don't have to worry about losing any money on this figure. I get that it's a high price point, but remember, you are getting a die-cast Iron Man that has been at one point been an $1,800 figure. To be conservative, like I said, I think this figure is probably going to be a somewhere in the $600 to $675 range figure after it sells out. But you do have like that second standard deviation like upside of this figure. Like there is like a 20% like chance that like this figure could be like a very expensive figure that could be like $800, $900 figure. You never really know. It could be the last Iron Man we're getting for a while. You have a lot of upside with this figure from an investment perspective, and I can say like unequivocally you have zero downside with this figure. There is no downside in buying this figure. You're not going to lose money even after shipping and fees and everything if you purchase this figure. There's just too much demand for this armor, and like given how little we have of this armor type, in that you only have this in the Mark 46, and the Mark 46 is like a $600 to $700 figure. This one is going to perform very similarly. Cool. But that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Always happy to hear everybody's feedback in the comment section, and we will see you in the next video.